Hello, my name is Junior Valencia, and this is my final project. I've decided to do my final project on the film Four Sheets to the Wind. This film is about the story of a half Seminole, half Creek native, Chufi, who travels from home, Holdenville, Oklahoma, to go and visit Miri, his elder sister, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, after the funeral of his father who had committed suicide. On his visit, he starts to become interested in his sister's neighbor, Francie, that turns into a romantic relationship. While all of this is happening, he is also learning and seeing the struggles his sister faces living in the city, such as poor choice in men, low income, losing her job, getting evicted, and then the attempt of suicide, like her late father. However, through all of this, Francie helps Chufi realize and embody the idea of his life having way more possibilities and meaning outside of the reservation than what he had originally thought. Some background information. The writer and director of this movie is Sterling Harjo. As you can see a picture there on the left. Some information that might be needed to know to help understand the film is that he was born and raised in Holdenville, Oklahoma, where the movie was filmed, and that he is a citizen of the Seminole Nation of Oklahoma with part heritage of the Muskogee, also known as Creek. Since he did grow up in Holdenville, Oklahoma, he knows the area and how the people on this reservation live their lives. And although the main character does represent most of who Harjo is as a cultural person, it is not based off of his life. But he does say he created this movie to react against expectations and against stereotypes. This movie was made in 2007 and was Harjo's first featured film he had done, and it had won many awards like Best Directing and Best Acting awards. Context and function. We see many cultural elements that you don't notice right away, such as the mother of Chufi wearing native jewelry, as well as having the house decorated in different native artifacts, such as pottery, paintings, and sculpture-like figures. But you also see the reservation that they live on, as well as the other people who live there. It's mainly older people that you see that give the vibe of an elderly community. We also get to listen to the Creek language with subtitles, as well as hearing native songs being played throughout the movie. We saw this first during the funeral of Chufi's father, when a group of Native Americans were singing and mourning the loss. But you also hear the native songs throughout the movie that are used almost as a transition from one scene to another. But it's not used every time. It only seemed to play music when something unfortunate happened, or there was a time in the movie when there was a character who was uplifted and grew as a person, like when Chufi finally realized and figured out that it was time for him to get away from his life on the reservation for a while. The sounds throughout the movie pulsate tranquilly and are super in sync with the likes of the inner rhythms of Chufi and other characters as the movie goes on. The body language of the characters as well as their emotion throughout the movie really show how each individual character has changed and grown. The format of the movie impacts you as a viewer due to the heart-touching and moving performances of Chufi's character and other characters, as well as the obstacles he's faced with and how he overcomes them. It makes you feel different emotions, such as sad and happy, as well as feeling bad for and being on a level of being able to understand the character and their reasoning for their way of life. Some impact and theme connections that I found throughout the film were that Harjo really likes to incorporate many of our themes throughout his film. Harjo likes to use the theme of stereotype, and we see the theme a lot throughout the film. One example of this is when Chufi is at a party with Francie and they get separated for a bit. He ends up getting into a conversation with a white man, and the guy asks Chufi a question of, where did all the Indians go? And the setting of this portrayed the guy as serious and that he had no idea that Native Americans were still, in fact, a part of our current societies. Chufi was surprised and looked confused, making him not know how to react or respond to this question. You could also tell that he took offense to it as well, but he ended up answering the question, replying with the statement of, they all moved to small towns, to get the question out of the way. Another example of Sterling showing stereotypical thinking is when Chufi is first meeting one of Miri's boyfriends, to where he asks Chufi about his name and if his parents were, quote-unquote, fucked up at the time of naming him. But we immediately see then the stereotype theme change to the theme of cultural identity. We see this because Chufi and his sister both stick up for him and his name, because there's a cultural meaning behind it, and that it translates to rabbit, and that it's not just some made-up word. They also make relevant that the name has been passed down through his family for generations, and that he was named after his late grandfather. The boyfriend then responds, trying to give a definition or meaning behind his name, but realizes that it is nothing other than just a regular name of David. Another example of stereotypes shown in the film was a white man fitting the stereotype of the wannabe Indian. The movie shows clearly a Caucasian man talking to obvious Native women and trying to claim that he is a half-breed, then cutting it down to saying that he is only 1/8 Cherokee. The stereotype of the wannabe Indian is someone who claims to be part of a culture or heritage that they aren't, and this is exactly what this guy did in the film. But this also shows the theme of cultural appropriation, because you could tell that he didn't fit in and was trying to wear clothes and forcibly put himself out there in an attempt to fit in with the native culture. He was claiming to be something he wasn't, and was making a fool out of himself in front of the native people. The natives could obviously tell that he didn't have any native heritage. Another stereotypical aspect we see in the movie is Miri acting out and not having a stable lifestyle. There are many different men in the movie that sexualize her for being a young, beautiful girl, and they only see her for her body, and this fits the stereotype given to women of the native culture, of them being seen as a sexual object or being sexualized in general. This piece impacts my understanding of our course themes because the film uses many different examples of our themes throughout the movie. By showing examples of what these themes are, give me a better understanding and a broader look at what could be considered to be part of those course themes. Harjo doesn't just include examples of them, but he also uses humor, emotions, and certain wording to help explain what it is he's trying to demonstrate. By using these different techniques, he exposes those themes in his film, which make it easier to spot and notice when he is using them, as well as the reasoning behind why it is he had put it in at that particular moment. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you.